baseball games. Let me talk to that.
Okay, guys. I'd like to call the meeting to order at this time. Bryce, would you come up to opening prayer, please?
Let's pray. Dear Lord, thanks so much for this day. Thank you for setting these council members in their position. Give them strength and wisdom as they guide your city, Lord. Thank you so much for our police and our fire and everyone who served to protect this community, God. Thank you so much for their service and their sacrifice. Lord, thank you so much for Jesus. It's in his name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bryce. Okay, Ms. Davis, would you please verify the roll?
All are present except Ms. Bennett and Mr. Fredericks.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Approval of agenda. Is there a motion to approve the prepared agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay, next on the agenda, citizens' comments. Comments should be no longer than 3 minutes in length and must pertain to city business. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council? Please come forward.
Hello, my name is James Scales. I live over here in West Side. I've been born and raised here and left and came back. What's getting past to you is I found that sometimes my words get lost in translation, so I'm trying something better at writing it down as well. It's 5 pages long because it's an email that I've sent to other cities and other businesses for small town Christmas in Arkansas. And then one of them is an email from Karen Hicks, VP of the Chamber of Commerce in El Dorado, sent back to trying to show the Christmas spirit. Okay, what I'm talking about is small town Christmas in Arkansas. What we're going to do is do a TV show this year, bringing all of Arkansas's Christmas cities together and to make Arkansas a Christmas state. Concept of the show is to start filming the 1st of December in Batesville, Arkansas, since it's the Christmas capital of Arkansas, and then to end on the 25th in Fayetteville, Arkansas, since the Stewart family Christmas lights are said to be the biggest. El Dorado, Arkansas, that got put into it because as you read her email, it's really cool because she's quite competitive. She loves her Christmas spirits. Plus, they have the biggest parade, Christmas parade in Arkansas with like an easy 130-something floats. Easy. So they're probably, if we get past this year, they will always stay on the tour. Really good, cool thing that happened just recently. We actually got support from Delaney Thomas. She's director of Arkansas State Parks and Tourism. She's given us full support, her communication team, plus Susan, her industry relations manager. So that's going to be a huge help out. We have talked to over 25 cities that want to be a part of, and it's actually really cool. One of the coolest cities was Reno, Arkansas, because they actually got hit by that tornado that hit Cave City just recently, and it was actually kind of cool because I didn't know it at first. I probably wouldn't have asked them if I would have known, but I'm glad I did because they were really spirited. They're like, no, we want to be a part of this to show people that we were hit, but we're not broken and we're still strong and everything. So that's what we're wanting, trying to bring the bigger cities and smaller cities together to just, show our Christmas spirit and, bring in that revenue. In July, we're going to go out and start building fire pits. We're actually going to build 2 kettle cooking fire pits. One here for Old Town Independence County Museum because they teach the kids how to cook like in the 1800s. So they want like an open fire pit, but a kettle cooking one where they can put a kettle on there and things like that. Plus, They have a museum there that they do the exact same thing. So they want a kettle cooking one there too. Plus, we're going to do it in some B&Bs and things like that. So we can kind of give that Arkansas image of we have cooking fire pits. That's kind of what we do in the wintertime to kind of like, keep being outside because as y'all know, the wintertime is our lowest tourist population because of the code. So if we can show them that, hey, this is what we do, we like outside because it's nature, but we have fire pits and we get our wood free because the tornado knocked down all these trees and we got to get rid of them anyway. Come And that's going to be, I don't know if I told you that day, that's going to be end of June, beginning of July. And then our plan is the end of end of October, beginning of November, cities that kind of need help, like cleaning up and everything, we're going to do cleanup cookouts around them to kind of like get them set up and ready for that influx of tourism and everything like that. And right now, I think that's it. The rest of it's kind of like in this. Like I said, I do know my translation gets kind of off, so I learned how to use AI, and it's really good. It actually makes it a lot better. Where it's like, oh, okay, now I get what you're talking about. But thank you, and I hope I you over about 3 minutes.
Well, you're good, James. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, James.
Okay, let's go into new business and Police Chief John Scarborough with monthly report.
Good job. School dreams. Big bastard. Peter gets old and he's a little bit.
Good afternoon. Hope everybody got this. I sent it out. I tried to send it out earlier, but we have problems with our email crashing and took forever to get it back up. Before I should have got to you guys. He's up a little bit on calls for service. Everything was up. It seemed like the reason the citations and stuff was up is the guys that started working a step grant for the state police. It pays for them to come work overtime and stuff, and they have to enforce traffic laws in order for the step grant to work. We can do this for the first year. You know, the guys get paid overtime by the state for it, and then the next year we can get equipment and stuff off of it, so we can hopefully buy new radars and stuff next year, or stuff related to traffic. You know, radars or PBTs and stuff like that. So that's probably why the numbers was up on that, and then of course.
I can attest they're doing a great job.
I heard.
This is the copy.
So guys are taking a class this week on breaching, basically defeating locks on doors and stuff. We get a lot of calls where somebody's falling and they can't get in or whatever, and we got all going through a class this week to help them be able to get inside doors if something's going on. We need in there, other than just kicking the door down. They have tools and stuff now and resources and training to do that. That's what they've been working on this week. And as most of you are aware, we had one of our speed signs stolen last week or so. I'm sure it's either in some teenager's bedroom right now or in the bottom of a body of water somewhere. Would be my guess. We don't have any leads or anything on it yet, so who knows where it's at. And I guess there wasn't anything else. Unless you guys have anything. Oh, the policies that Rob's sitting there reading. You guys all had a chance to look at them and give me your nod of approval for us to go forward next month with implementing them. Yeah.
There were a
Robert
lot.
said he was going to read all this tonight, and he's going to pass it back to Mr. Moody. But
That's good. That's good.
The clip back.
If nothing else, Ms. Tinkle can give them the play-by-play. I know she's done every one of them,
Yeah.
and she would text me regularly asking questions.
yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Chief Scarborough? Thanks, Chief.
Been a year since y'all give me this position, and I greatly appreciate it. I couldn't ask for a better department to lead and a better group of guys to have as a police force. So thank all of you for trusting in me for this year. Thanks.
Good job. Good job. Thanks to you guys as well. They're doing a great job. Okay, Mr. Damon Johnson, City Engineer.
Yeah. Just kind of give you, well, first I have a little bit of business, I guess, official business. As you know, we built a new public works shop north of town and moved several of our departments out there, most of them. And what we found is despite trying to think of things, we still didn't build enough square footage. We have lots of parts and equipment and just tools that are being stored in Connex boxes, some of it outside that should be inside. And so we've moved forward we built the pads for two more buildings, just metal buildings, still color match. We took bids on them this month, and we got 2 bids. And Bullard Construction was the low bidder. There's 2 buildings. They're right at 5,000 square foot each. And one will be for the water construction department and the other one will be for street department. And the intent of those is to be able to organize tools, hand tools, even some large equipment that needs to be kept indoors, especially in the winter. Some of the equipment that has water on it, needs to be kept warm indoors in the winter. But, we'll put shelving and racks in there and be able to organize all the tools and parts and stuff that we keep. And instead of having to go into 7 different Connex boxes and try to find what we're looking for, we get a little bit more organized and kind of clean the yard up as well. Trying to get things out of the way that are supposed to be inside somewhere that are kind of scattered around. So anyway, I'd like to ask, we got Bullard Construction was low bidder, $592,456, and that's for both buildings. So, and the other bidder was Harper Contractors, and they were $739,000. So they were similar, but Bullard Construction gave us a really good competitive bid. And I'd like to ask you guys if y'all already.
This is in the budget, correct?
Yes, we did budget for it.
Okay.
But I just felt like we probably should get approval. Since it's a contract.
Okay. I get a motion?
Make a motion.
A second. Have a motion, a second to go ahead and accept Bullard Construction as the contractor. And any further discussion? If not,
Quick question.
Yes.
Are we building it in such a way that we can grow more, or so is it scalable?
Yeah. So, we're putting these buildings, we won't expand them, but we could, basically we're kind of stacking them in row so we can add another one down the line if we decide we need to. Kind of like the water department was behind the water plant, where there was kind of 3 buildings kind of stacked like that. So we'll have the main building and then these subsequent buildings kind of behind. And we're just kind of we're dealing with the space, that we have, trying to make it as efficient as possible.
okay. Any further questions? Not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys. Just a quick update on operational stuff. I think the street department's kind of looking at the boat dock for the White River. It's got to have some repairs made to it, potentially. Not sure if we'll be able to get it in by the end of the week, just kind of some of the river predictions, but we're kind of working in that direction. And if we can, hopefully we'll get that done. Our projects to get the water and sewer across East Main Street for the industrial side is pretty much complete. There's still cleanup to be done, just topsoiling and getting perennials, grasses growing again, but the work has all been done. And that same contract has a bunch of sewer rehab work, and we're kind of fine tuning the details of that, and then we'll go out and start that work hopefully in the next few months. The water treatment plant project is going very well. They've been consistently pouring quite a bit of concrete. We've got 2 structures. 2 of the largest structures have the bottom floor poured. They're starting to come up. We're going to start seeing walls coming up the end of this week on one of those structures, which will kind of be exciting. We'll start to see things start coming out of the ground. There's still several more structures to be built, but these first 2 are moving along very, very nicely. That's exciting. The Parks project is also starting to see some movement there. They've got a contractor on site whose job is to do demolition of the foundations and the slabs from the buildings that we tore down, the asphalt and those kind of things that are going to go away in the new park plan. There also is a contractor on site whose job is to remove invasive plant species on the site. So there's a lot of, especially in the drainage there, that'll be along the event center. There's a lot of like privet and some kind of that, that stuff that's hard to get rid of. So they're down in there kind of working on that, digging the roots out. And they're also going to remove the invasive trees and unhealthy trees too while they're there. So we'll see some foliage changing, but there's a lot of trees that will be saved. And, there's been an arborist who's worked to be sure we keep the good, healthy trees and the trees that are desirable trees instead of non-desirable trees, which I'm not a tree person, so I don't know what's what, but otherwise our two plants are operating well. The wastewater plant's drawn down. It was very full after those significant rain events we had earlier, 30 days ago. And we've been able to draw down all that extra water that we hold down there when we get a lot of rain events. And water treatment plant, no issues to report there. Thankfully, we're making good water with no issues. We've had a rash of repairs that we spent a couple of months dealing with, and we're hoping right now we're kind of, things are leveled off, and we're hoping we won't have any other big issues until we can get the new one built. So other than that, I don't really have much else to report unless y'all have any questions for me.
Any questions from council? Okay, thank you, Damon.
All right, thank y'all.
Okay, next on the agenda is Mr. Jonathan Abbott with an update and possibly a request here. And welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. You should have in your packet there some maps. There's been a lot of discussion. Of course, I'll give you two guesses to what I'm here to talk about. Christmas light. Seems to be my world now, every day around the clock. But so you will see in your packet, this map is showing actually two routes together. One is for the traffic flow map as well as the carriage and train ride map. Most of our proposal is right now that we're working on is centered around the community center because of the park revitalization, so forth and so on going on. We had to relocate probably 3/4 of the light display. So we're shifting most of that was in Riverside Park over to the community center. The last park, what we consider Park 4, which is in front of the River Restaurant, that area will be untouched. So we will incorporate that as well as the dog park, Cheney Drive by the golf course, and then turning and going back toward the community center. So that will all be incorporated in, as well as the community center and around the community center. We have broke it down to where you could see those separated. One is the traffic flow. If you go to that next slide for me. This is the traffic flow map right here. This is actually vehicular traffic. And, either way we go is not going to be easy task. This is just probably the best scenario that we could come up with, relocation and still be in close proximity to the park, because we're going to have a lot of visitors, guests come in from out of town that's going to be confused as to where to go, and we just didn't want to get too far away from Riverside Park. So this was our best solution. And then, of course, that put us, this route right here is actually extended twice the length of the route before. The route through the park was a 1 mile loop. This is actually a 2 mile loop. And so our carriages with the horses could not endure the task of going a 2 mile loop, repetitive. And so we tried to keep it and condense it down. And that's the reason why we chose to go with the walk trail and incorporating that for our carriages to take it easier on the horses. And it's not as much of an incline. There's several inclines in the 2 mile loop where the traffic will be flowing. And so I talked with the carriage company, and they were very concerned about the health and safety of the horses. That's the reason why we chose 2 different routes. One for the train and the carriages, and the other for the vehicular traffic. And so you have those maps attached to your packet. And so if you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out. The next thing that we're going to go to, every year I go to the Christmas Expo in St. Louis and try to come out with something that's new and that will draw attention to Batesville, bring people in. And so you will have attached to your packet there a proposal. If you'll go to that video, this is kind of what we're looking at. This is a more permanent structure here. The one that we're proposing would be one that is portable and would pack away into 2 Connex boxes and be able to be moved. And so this is, as you can tell, it's tubing. How many of you went snow tubing when you was a kid? I did. Mm-hmm. And so this is kind of a safer version of that. And this is what we're wanting to do is do the 150 foot long. And of course, it's 2 Connex box stacked. You see that in your picture. We try to come out with new things. So the first thing that we did was we created the train. It was a $60,000 adventure. We paid for it in less than 4 years. Then we went with the concession stand. It was also paid for out of monies that was generated from the Christmas lights, not from taxpayer dollars. Also, we did the castle. This year was the 4th year that we've left money in the budget to cover the payment on the castle. So we're approaching you now to see if you want to further this and maybe make this an attraction of our light display. A lot of times we see people standing in line, kids getting restless, going to carriage rides. This gives them something to do while they're waiting, and they can do this with their families as well. So you have that proposal in front of you. All the details of that are pretty much there listed for you.
Where do you see this in the map?
Good question. I got to wait until I get it first. Then I'll put it into the map. Yeah. It'll be close proximity where most, like all of our activities, like the ice skating rink, it'll be in close proximity to that. For the most part,
actually, we're looking right in the area, and Johnny, I think we're on the same page. Correct me if I'm wrong. We're looking to set up our vending and everything behind the tennis courts on the south side, north side of the tennis courts right there. There's an upper parking lot there, and that's where we're planning on. That's where I visualize this sitting in some of that area right there. Yes. Of course, we'd
be close to the dumpster, between the dumpster and the pickleball and tennis courts, outdoor courts there.
Of course, we know this is going to be a challenge. Even the Christmas lights are going to be a challenge. But
what's that going to do to parking? Do we not have any events?
Well, we're going to. That's another challenge. Is I will be visiting with White River Health at night. They are not, and we'd already talked to Johnny about the possibility of coming down the sidewalk. There's very few cars in the evening, if you know, at White River Health. And if we can partner with them to have parking in that area, plus the old Mickey Mouse pool area, they would actually get out of the park in that area right there, and they would be able to, we're going to try to make a little pathway. It's kind of sloping, but Johnny said we could do that out of lights, and they could walk on the grass up to that area right there. So,
Johnny, would you charge, will we charge, go down the slide? Okay.
Well, and I
think we should.
We haven't got all of this as far as nailed down to how much we're going to charge, but yes, the idea would be to have like some type of wristband. They would pay one set price, and then they would just go and they would slide, and they would get back in line, and it would be unlimited. How many ever times they can get through the line, that's how many times that they would be able to slide.
Okay.
For the home folks during Monday through Thursday, they can bring their kids down there and they could just have a ball, but on the weekends, of course, we know that's when most of our out of town guests are going to be here. So that's kind of what the gentleman that created these and sells these suggested. And he says they do a lot of these at like corn mazes and stuff like that. Some of what you see are permanent structures. Ours would not be the permanent structures. They would be where we could tear it down, pack it all into the Connex box and move the Connex box. And we could relocate wherever we need those year to year.
And we could possibly, which Johnny, I know it always takes workforce and everything, but we've even mentioned that it could be done, the 4th of July, maybe a Main Street event or different times it could be utilized
this year.
And set up not just for Christmas, but
we wouldn't be able to do it this year because we have to get this, if we're going to move on this, the deadline is June 1st.
I like the idea. Would it have like a look of like snow?
We can design it, as you can tell, there's multiple colors. We can design it however we want. We want it, Christmas colors, red, green, white, or we could have whatever color we want to do. We could do blue and white. The only thing is when we relocate from the community center, once the new park is done, if we put it on a grassy area, it rains, then we're going to take that mud onto whatever it is whatever color. And so if we get white, it's going to be brown before it's over with. But, I'm sure it's all can be pressure washed, clean, so forth and so on. From what I saw, it's all, it's made for outside. So.
I like it.
I do too.
I do too.
I like the idea of it being like a snow.
And in the past, because I think Johnny explained it very well, we basically borrowed internally and not going out and financing it, and then he pays it back. Like you said, he's paid back all those. And
all of the items that we mentioned, the train, the concession stand, the castle, all of those items were financed internally, and we paid it out in 4 years or less.
Yep.
Out of the money that was generated was brought in concession stand, carriage rides. We get a portion of that. Everything that funds the lights. So.
What we need to do, make a motion. I'll make a motion. We buy this wonderful flag.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further conversations or anything? Okay. All in favor for purchasing the snow slide, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay.
Is there a weight factor?
Now all I need to know is what color we get.
Okay. We'll figure that out. Yeah, we'll figure that part out.
Thank you all.
I always say, ask the girls.
There you go.
When we get ready to do something at the community center, what color carpet? I said, ask the girls. Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. Don't let myself or Jeff Owens pick out the colors. Yeah. There's only one color I like, and it's black. And that's the ceiling of the community center. So I did pick that out. Thank you, Johnny. Okay, let's move on to the ordinance. I know we've been working on this for a while, and I'm glad to see that we are moving forward. Consider an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor and the city clerk to execute an interlocal agreement with Independence County. Would someone like to introduce the ordinance?
I will.
Is there a motion to read the ordinance by title only?
I will. Move.
A motion and a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, please cast your votes. Okay, Mr. Maxon?
Yes, sir. Ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk and city of Batesville, Arkansas to execute an interlocal agreement by and between Independence County, Arkansas and the city of Batesville declaring an emergency for other purposes.
Okay, does anyone have any discussion?
Just a quick question, maybe immaterial. Will these expenditures, income and expenditures, be part of any audit, maybe at the county level?
That's a good question. Chief?
I couldn't hear what your question was.
Well, I was just asking, I'm curious if any of this, whether it's the income or expenses, will this be part of an audit, I assume at the county level, so that.
Well, my grade.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say just about any transaction is audited.
I would think
I
so.
would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it'll flow through, and whatever we receive, we get audited based on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Jessica, you have any thoughts on that, or pretty?
I think that was part of what Denise was doing.
I mean, I know anything we receive or.
And it's going to be a learning curve because Jessica's
Going to be audited. Yeah, both way county and probably city. Yeah, so under that. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, is there a motion to further suspend the rules and waive the second and third readings?
Motion. Second.
We have a motion, a second. Okay, please cast your votes. Okay. Geez, that was just waiving the second and third readings. You got that. You know, I'm getting out of order. Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance? We got that, right?
That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Do we have a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second. Okay, council, cast your votes. And there is an emergency clause. Mr. Meitzen?
Yes, sir. That the proper funding of district court is necessary for the effectual administration of justice. Therefore, need for this ordinance effective immediately, and that the interlocal agreement is in the best interest of the city and its citizens. Therefore, emergency is hereby declared to exist, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after the date of its passage in order to preserve the public peace, health, safety, as well as to protect the city economy.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second. Motion a second. Please cast your votes. Okay, now let's move into next is executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, we are in executive session, so let's just move to the top. I think we'll come back in. And at this time, a couple things. Mr. Roberts, you had a recommendation. I think Ron Autry does not want to be reappointed, but you have an appointment
Yes.
for his on the historic district.
Yes, I have a motion for approval of Todd Autry as a replacement for Ron Autry on the Historic District Commission.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Have a motion?
Second.
And have a motion and a second. All in favor of appointing Mr. Autry to the historic district signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay, Chief just didn't get me in a headlock, but he has said that we probably need to go ahead because this needed to be passed verbally by June the 1st, and we do not have another city council meeting. Just the Batesville Police Department policy manual. I know we can probably come back at any time and maybe oversee this. I mean, correct some of these things if we feel like you come up with something that you do not necessarily agree with. But I guess the wishes, do we have a motion for the Batesville Police Department policy manual?
Second.
What's the June 1st date? What's important about June 1st?
That's just the day we're going to implement them, because that would be, actually our 10-year anniversary of the police department. So we're going to implement them starting that day.
You can read them all tonight.
Well, I mean, we got a hard copy today.
Yeah.
So,
So long weekend.
I mean, personally, I'd rather read it. I'd rather do it next meeting, but there's a reason to do it now.
So should we have a motion?
We have a motion and second.
Yeah, we have a second?
Yes.
Okay, we did have a second. Okay. All right, any other discussion other than Mr. Roberts? Anyone else have any discussion? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Okay, next on the, had some discrepancy during the COVID. I have a little information here, but Batesville Police Department, when the Batesville Police Department was reformed, patrol officers were placed on an hourly pay scale, and their shifts were structured at 12-hour shifts, resulting in a total of 84 hours over a 14-day pay period. Officers were compensated for 80 hours. The remaining 4 hours were classified as time earned. In some instances, officers could also earn overtime. There was no agreed upon plan on how to compensate them or provide an opportunity to use the acquired time. So with all that being said, in the Fair Labor Act, I know we've had Mr. Meitzen. He has consulted, did confirm that with Arkansas Municipal League. He has visited, I think one of the attorneys, is that correct? At Caleb at the Arkansas Municipal League. And at this time, we I think, let me see how many officers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Around 20, 19 or 20, if I miscounted there. But at the end of the day, we're looking at $172,879.62. When these are signed as well, each officer will sign a waiver when they do receive this compensation. We did visit with this since his personnel. We talked about this in the city council, in our executive committee meeting. And now this thing has been corrected because if they do work overtime, Chief, is that correct? They are paid for their overtime.
Yes, sir.
So this does not continue to lag on. We will not get into this situation again.
No.
Yeah. And hopefully, like I said, this is kind of a misstep during the COVID area when all this happened. Not going to point fingers, but this time, do we have a motion to go ahead and move forward with this?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to move forward with the prepayment plan. Is there any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay. All right. Going to the financials. Of course, you can check with myself and Ms. Davis at any time. Go into mayor comments. June 10th will be our next meeting. And then I think that's the only thing. June the 23rd will be the groundbreaking of the our parks project at 10 a.m. Hope everyone can make that. Hopefully giving you the information so you can make arrangements for that groundbreaking. And let's move on to liaison reports.
One meeting in June?
I have not even looked. I know we've got league. I haven't even looked, Julie. To tell you the truth, let me look at our calendar and see where we are. I'm going to try to see where the, what did we say? That was the 23rd. No, I'm sorry. What date? 10th?
10th is the.
Yeah, 10th. So I guess it'd help if I moved to
Look at this.
June. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
All right, June 10th. And I guess the only other meeting, let's see, league is 18th, 19th, and 20th. Is that correct? So I know we would have another one on June the 24th. That would be 2. Yes, 2 meetings. But we'll just see how the agenda stacks up.
What was the date for that?
June 10 and June 24.
The ground, was it?
23rd. Yes. Yeah, 23rd.
I hope it's warmer than when we did the water company.
Well, I sure hope so. I still have brain freeze on that one. Okay, let's move on to, if not any other questions or anything on that, liaison reports. Okay, council comments, Ms. Davis?
Ms. Hinkle?
None.
Ms. Hubbard?
None.
Mr. Krug?
None.
Mr. Moody?
None.
Mr. Reeves?
None.
Mr. Roberts?
None.
Okay, being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.